Hey there, Doug here. You're probably thinking, if you're a subscriber and a regular listener of ours, why is there a new episode on a Monday? Well, Jamie and I, when we started this project, we wanted to talk to everyone in the industry, from the lighting guy to the director and everybody in between. So we reached out to a lot of people because we did not think we were going to get the response back from folks that were involved in sequels. And luckily we did. So we have all these bonus episodes that we want to get out there. Some with directors, some with writers, some with actors. I just interviewed a WWF champion, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid, however you know him. But yeah, so these are a lot of fun. I really think these folks still have stories to tell, even though they didn't qualify for sequels or they weren't in any sequels. So first up, we have Tony D'Alessio. You're probably like, I've never heard of that guy. I didn't either until I talked to him. But man, talk about a guy with a story to tell. He grew up in the Bronx, joined the Army, went to work, worked, and then retired. Just like everyone else's story. But his didn't end there. Most people, they just go to the golf course, they just hang out, and they basically just hang out the rest of their lives. This guy got into acting. He got into directing. He got into writing. And man, he was lots of fun to talk to. So check out the interview. And he has a movie on Amazon Prime that you can watch if you have a Prime account, or you can rent or buy it. It's called Girl Wired. He wrote it. He directed it. He funded it. He did everything. And it's pretty cool that he was able to do that. I'll have the link in the bio so you can check it out. Now, let's start the interview. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Great talking to you.
Same here. Thanks very much for taking me on as a subject.
Hey, you're very inspiring, and you grew up in the Bronx, right?
I did, yeah. Did you?
No, I'm in New Jersey, but I'm a diehard Yankee fan.
Oh, yeah, me too. I used to go to the Yankee Stadium all the time on my bike.
What was the first? Who was playing when you went?
Oh God, DiMaggio and Rizzuto and all those old guys. Oh man, it was phenomenal back then.
That's amazing. Yeah, my dad was a huge fan, so then it just transferred over. But my middle name's Thurman after Thurman Munson.
Yeah, my dad was a huge fan too. He was a Yankees fan.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is a project that was years upon years later down the road. So I already saw, because I read it online on your IMDb. But so you grew up in the Bronx.
Yep.
Then you went into the Army. You went to NYU. Along any of that time frame, were you into film or acting at all?
Absolutely not. No. I was thinking about it. I was not into film or acting, but I was a member of a vocal group called the Ebb Tides, and we put out a couple of songs, and then I had to join the Army because my draft was coming up, so I had to quit the group, and they got somebody else to take my place. So I was second tenor for the Ebb Tides for a while. The song is still out there. It's Franny Franny and, one other song. I can't even remember the name of it, darn it.
What kind of music was it? Was it doo-wop, like that era?
Yeah, it was a doo-wop era, exactly. We're talking the mid-50s here, 56, right around there, 56, 57.
No, the reason I asked is I know a guy that was in a group in the New York area. He was in Nick and the Knacks.
Nick and the Knacks. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, we were just Neo and the Ebb-Tides.
That's awesome. So then you're in the Army, like you said, for a few years, and then you went to NYU and you went for civil engineering.
Yep, I did.
So what made you go that route?
Well, I initially started at NYU before I went into the Army. I took a couple of courses. My high school grades were not that great, so they wanted me to take a couple of courses at City College. I took a couple of courses there. I got A's and B's, and I said, okay, you can sign up. So I signed up for one semester, And I was like, 16, 17 years old at the time. I was getting tired of school, and they wanted me to go for like a whole year because of the way I had enrolled. And I just dropped out. And then I went to work for an ink manufacturing company, believe it or not, in Harlem. And then, it was time to, get my military service over with. And my dad had a friend who was a member of the local operating engineers union in Westchester County. And so when I enlisted for the Corps of Engineers. And when I had gone to school initially, let me backtrack a little bit. When I had initially enrolled at NYU, I was enrolled in aeronautical engineering. I was really interested in planes and stuff like that. And but just going into construction and getting operating engineers training in the Army, when I got out, I immediately got a job as an operating engineer, and it was like the pay was fantastic, And I said, "Wow, I can't go to school full time. I can't give up this salary." So I continued going to NYU, but it was the evening division. So I really put a big burden on myself by going to school at night and working during the day, and I did that for 6.5 years before I got my degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But you know what? I was able to pay my own tuition. Oh.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't as expensive if you look at today's dollar-wise. But no, still that you did that. 6.5 years of basically your 12-hour days, at least.
Basically, yeah. And I was working in Westchester and going to NYU downtown, which was...
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was quite a trip. An hour's drive from work to get down to Lower Manhattan and go to NYU there. And finally, they moved the classes up to the Heights campus, which it should have been, which has now been sold, by the way. So, strange things happen,
Yeah. So then that was your field, pretty much. I know you did work you were doing some what was it, highway work or bridge work in Arizona?
Yeah. Well, after 3 years of going to night school and working in construction, I decided that it was time to try out my selected field of engineering. So I applied for a job, as a designer drafter, and this company, Parsons Brinckerhoff, Quaid and Douglas, hired me, and I went to work for them full time downtown Manhattan. So I didn't have the daily commute anymore, but it was a lot easier. It was a little bit easier on the commute side, and plus since the classes had moved up to the Heights campus, it made life a little easier for me. So life was good. Life was good. It really was, and I met my wife at college. My last.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had my last semester there. We had a class, and I think it was political philosophy or some stuff like that. And it was just something I had to take to fulfill my credits. And Joanne was in the class with me, and I had met her once before, but never had gotten up close. And we developed a relationship in class and started dating from there. And a couple of months after that, we were out having dinner, and I said, "Hey, why don't we get married?" And she said, "Sure, why not?"
That's amazing. So it's so good that you chose that class. I don't know if you had other options, but that's fate.
Yeah, it is fate. Exactly. It is fate. Yes, I agree. And Joanne and I have been together since then, 51 years, man.
Not many people could say that, especially nowadays. So when did the acting and wanting to write and direct, when did that bug kick in?
Well, when I retired from engineering, I was only 60 years old. It was like 1998, and I had just turned, how old was I in 98? I just turned 60. So,
Okay.
yeah. And I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with my off time, but, Joanne and I had accumulated enough money so that I can retire. She wanted to keep working, so we had a steady income coming in. And I decided shortly after I retired from engineering to get into acting. I saw an ad for an acting class at a community college here, and I took that class and I was hooked.
That's awesome.
I started taking classes in acting at the community colleges, and a couple of intense workshops. The Shakespeare Conservatory was one of them. Was a 6-week program, and then as I was doing some small parts in films and theater. I was doing a lot of community theater, and it was just. Well, it came to me like, gee, I really have some ideas about scripts and I should get into writing. So I did. I started writing, and I had this concept in mind of this woman with early onset Alzheimer's, and I wrote Faded Flowers based on that woman.
Oh wow!
And then I did a short on the full script, and put some of my own money into that, and it turned into about a 10 or 12 minute short called Faded Flowers, which is still on IMDb, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I see it on here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got me on IMDb. Yeah. So you see all my stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So then how did you come, because you mentioned like you were in the small roles, and
right.
So how did it come to, obviously you had the opportunity to get your short and get it going.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
And get it out there and directing it.
Right.
And then 11 years later, you had Girl Wired. When did you come up with the idea for that?
Girl Wired, I came up with the idea around 2009, 2010. And,
okay.
The concept was, the young girl, genius, and her kid brother and Grandpa Poppy, and that came about in 2010. I started writing and, finished the script in 2010, did several rewrites and whatnot, and then started looking around for money to do productions on either Girl Wired or Faded Flowers, which had then turned into another title called Fatal. And, we scrounged around for years trying to get funding. And it was probably the most difficult part of the whole process, trying to get funding. So, it was a struggle. And I said this to every filmmaker out there, boy, if you've got a script and, you can't get the funding for it, good luck, because I know just how hard it is. Really.
What is it? What resource? I interviewed a guy that does producing like a few weeks back, and I asked him, but what were some of the channels that you went through? Like, how do you connect with people for that?
Oh boy, we went to a lot of film companies. Tri-Coast is one of them, and they had put us on a list as a possibility. I had actually attached Rosanna Arquette to do Faded Flowers, which wasn't fatal yet at the time, but I had signed her up to do Faded Flowers, and I had a letter of intent from Rosanna, and we was trying to shop that around, and couldn't get any interest in that, and couldn't get any interest in from any of the other funds that I contacted. And I spent quite a bit, tossing my money around, trying to get interest in funding for the film, and it never worked. But finally, my family had a property, a commercial property in the Bronx, and all my father and my uncles who had worked in the supermarket that was there had passed away, and we were renting the property out, and then that got slow, and my cousins who were partners and sons and daughters of my uncles and aunts, and we decided to sell the property, and my share of the proceeds were about $300,000, and I decided to take that $300,000 and use it to produce one of the films, either Fatal or Girl Wired, and we decided on Girl Wired, and that was working with Tammy and Rusty Case, and they were just unbelievable people to work with. By the way, they're phenomenal. They were absolutely phenomenal.
That's awesome.
So, I don't know if I've answered your question or not.
Oh no, you definitely did. So from this process of like the directing, the writing and producing, since you just have this out there, and anybody listening, I'll put the link in the episode, is you can go watch it on Amazon Prime. And so do you have the itch to like write something else and do this whole process all over again with a different idea?
Well, I have the other script. I have the script Fatal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And now that we've got Girl Wired out there, Girl Wired is also under contract to a sales agent, Monarch Films, and he's the guy who put it on Amazon. And we're hoping that it will take off. And the reason why we're doing these podcasts, by the way, is so that we can generate publicity, because that's the hardest part of the process. I'm finding is the publicity to get your film into the grind and get that get those millions of viewers, and hopefully most of them will go and either rent the film or buy the film or whatever. And I want to make my money back. If I can make my money back, I actually spent about $250,000 so far, and that's it's a SAG ultra low budget, by the way, and we were able to go SAG on that. So if I can get my money back, and I'll reinvest it in doing Fatal, because I think Fatal is also going to be pretty good. It's also woman intensive. It's about this woman with early onset Alzheimer's and the stuff that she goes through. And there's some bloodshed involved and some murders and stuff like that.
No, you said it best. It's hard. Even there's a lot of movies, if you go on Netflix or any of those and you just scroll through, or even look up big time actors.
Yeah.
I watched a movie, me and my wife, a few months ago. It was with Bruce Willis and Christopher Maloney, and I'm trying to think who else is in it. It was called Marauders, and because it wasn't in the theaters, they didn't advertise it on TV, and it was like a straight to DVD. But it was such a good movie, but there's no way to find it. It's almost like you have to do things like this, or just luckily have somebody come across it. But I'm sure people are going to check it out.
Well, I'm hoping they will.
Yeah. So how did they get you on Amazon Prime? That's pretty awesome that you're able. How cool is that you could sit at home right now and watch something, stream something that you created?
Absolutely. It's great. And I just watched it again this afternoon, just to key up for this conversation. And every time I watch it, I'm liking it more and more. The kids are just awesome. The kids are awesome actors. And they were great. Tammy put together the whole crew. She was unbelievable. I mean, we had, what was it, about 70 crew people, something like that. 28,
Oh, wow.
28 or 38, 28, I guess it was, 32 actors. And, we had over 100 people on this project, man. It was incredible.
That's wild.
I know.
How many days did you get it done in?
We actually scheduled it for 18-day shoot, and that's what it was.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but, we had to do it. And, because we were pressed for time and money, we couldn't go overtime a lot and stuff like that. So we had to be satisfied with a lot of the material. But during the editing process, which took about a year, by the way, during the editing process, we managed to piece together the best of what we had. And what we see there on Worldwide now is what we got, So I'm pretty pleased with it. And, for the budget that we had and the amount of time that we had to do to shoot and whatnot, pretty pleased. Came out really well.
Yeah. And just think about it. The thing that what found me so fascinating about you was just that this was something that you did later in life. A lot of people, they retire and they sit on a golf course or
I don't retire, man.
They don't do much.
I don't retire. I'm a workaholic, and I was that way since basically I was a kid.
Yeah.
And working in engineering was, really I was doing so well. Became engineering manager at Parsons Brinckerhoff, Quaid & Douglas. They sent me to Hawaii to live a 3-year project, and I wound up staying in Hawaii with Joanne for 18 years.
That's amazing.
We had our kids there, and then the work in Hawaii was grinding down, so they had opened an Arizona office, and they offered me a position here in Arizona. And Joanne, who was working for the state DOT in Hawaii, was also hired by my firm because they said, hey, what the heck? We're planning to ship the both of you over there. We're opening a new office. We might as well hire her too. So
yeah, right.
So they did, and both of us were working for Parsons Brinckerhoff here in Arizona, and I was project manager for a couple of interchanges, and that was my specialty, was freeway to freeway interchanges. So
that's awesome. So I have to ask, because you obviously moved from New York to, Hawaii and Arizona. Do you miss winter?
I do not miss winter, but but I do miss cool weather, because right now,
oh yeah, I bet.
We're in the roasting season here in Arizona. 106 degrees and 110 degrees, and oh my God. So
that's not good.
We may turn into snowbirds pretty soon and move north.
Yeah.
Move north during the summertime. A lot of our neighbors are doing that.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of people that do that. Yeah, no, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You find somewhere nice you want to go to.
Get out of the darn heat, it's like, wow.
Well, Tony, this has been awesome. I love picking your brain and being able to. I just think it's so fascinating. Like I said before, I know you're not retired per se, but there's a lot of people, even people that are my age, that are like 30 years old. They're in their career and they don't think about anything else but like their 9 to 5. And I feel like they go to 60, 65, like my parents are, and they're just like, I'm done. I just want to relax now. But it's so cool that you just wanted to keep doing it. I know you said you're a workaholic, but it's still amazing to have that drive and like get something that you put on paper that you were able to get onto Amazon Prime on a big screen. That's so amazing.
Yeah, that was very, very rewarding, Doug. Very rewarding, really.
I bet.
And, it gives me the inspiration to keep on going. But, as far as working working all the time, I find that as long as I'm doing something that's of interest to me, then it doesn't become a job. It becomes like a hobby, It's like recreation.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like recreational, It's like, this is fun, Even writing a script is fun. It's like, So it's just something I do. And, if I get bored with writing scripts, I'll probably wind up doing something else. Who knows? But I don't think that's going to happen. So far, so good. I've got another script in mind, that I'm thinking of writing right now, and I might put that in the hopper as well. But I do want to get Fatal done, about the woman with Alzheimer's. So hopefully, it was a struggle. Getting the funding was unbelievable. We started with $10 million budget, and we dropped it down to $6 million, and then down to $2 million, and then down to $1 million, and then finally we just had to give up. And and then fortunately the funding came along from the sale of the property. So that was.
But it worked out. That's all that matters.
It worked out, and not only that, but I was able to afford passing on using the money for my retirement. So I've got enough money in my retirement to keep me going. And the only thing I have to worry about possibly is catastrophic medical conditions, which, at my age are always possible. So
fingers crossed.
Gotta keep the fingers crossed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're living each day like you're giving it all every day. So
I'm living each day, man, and that's the only way to live. It's like, hey,
that is true.
Live life and do what you think is fun, and if it's work and it's fun, it's even better.
Yeah.
So
those are some words of wisdom. Before I let you go, what do you think of it? Do you watch the Yankees out there?
Not really. I haven't watched baseball anymore, believe it or not.
No,
I became a big soccer fan.
No way.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Hawaii, I was playing handball, four-wall handball. And then I started playing soccer. I took my kids down to the soccer field. We were kicking the ball around, and we lived on the North Shore of Oahu, near Sunset Beach, which is famous for attracting surfers from all over the world. Well,
that's pretty cool.
I was playing soccer with my kids, just kicking the ball around, and this bunch of Brazilians showed up, and they're all playing barefoot. They're playing soccer barefoot, and they invited me and my kids to play. So we started playing soccer, and then I got hooked on that, and I was playing soccer. I was on the team and everything. So incredible.
Well, that's awesome.
So I'm a big soccer fan now, and I'm watching Phoenix Rising. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Are they like in the second league below MLS?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I lived in Portland for a little bit. So me and my wife, we used to go to a lot of the Timbers games.
Yeah, and Phoenix Rising has won 17 games in a row. That's unbelievable. That's phenomenal. Anyway, I'm watching them. They're pretty good. I can't play soccer anymore, of course. My hips gave out a long time ago, and I had to have replacement surgery for my hips. So that kind of killed my soccer career. Whatever. But, life is what it is. I'm still able to walk, thank God.
And that's the biggie. But I'm going to keep tabs on you, and I'll keep reaching out to you, and then we'll talk again, because when you have the next movie made, I would love to hear about that process, just like this one.
Oh, I would love to talk to you about that.
Man, Tony was such a cool guy. I wish him all the best. Make sure you go watch Girl Wired. Leave it a review. It's on Amazon Prime. If you have Prime, it's free. If not, spend a few bucks. The guy worked his butt off in order to do that. It's such a great story to tell. So that's Tony D'Alessio. Hopefully we see him again, talk to him again when he has a new movie that comes out. And then stay tuned. This Thursday, Jamie and I, we are breaking down Roadhouse 2. And it is even Roadhouseier than the first one. Don't forget to review, rate, and share our podcast. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Good night.